everyone, this is Khushi. I'm a second year medical student and I'll be demonstrating the physical examination video of the abdomen. So before beginning the examination of the abdomen, there are some tips that should be remembered for during the examination. We should make sure that the patient is in supine position. Ask the patient to keep the arms at the sides as raising the arms towards the head may tighten the abdominal muscle and may hinder with palpation. Draping the patient is also necessary while performing abdominal examination. So while placing the drape, it should be at the level of symphysis pubis. The abdominal area should be well visible and you should pull over the gown up till the nipple line. So only this portion should be visible, and also remember that only the groin should be visible. The genitalia should be covered throughout the examination. Before you begin with the examination, ask the patient to point to any areas of pain so that you may deal with them at the very last. Also, you should warm your stethoscope and your hands. For warming them, you can either rub them or you can place your hands under hot water. The examination is usually performed by standing at the right side of the patient. We first start with inspection, then we auscultate, then we perform percussion, and at the very last we do palpation. In all these techniques, we visualize each organs and we note if there is any tenderness or discomfort in any part of any organ. We will first begin with inspection of the abdomen. We will observe the general appearance of the patient. From the right side of the bed, we will inspect the surface, contours and movements of the abdomen. Note the abdominal skin's temperature, color, any scars, striae, dilated veins, rashes or ecchymosis. Stretch marks are seen here which are normal. Inspect the umbilicus, observe its contour and location and any inflammation or bulges that suggest a ventral hernia. None are seen here. Here the abdomen is rounded. There are no local bulges seen. The abdomen is symmetric with no visible organs or masses. We will next be auscultating the abdomen. Auscultation provides important information about bowel motility. Auscultate the abdomen before performing percussion or palpation, which may alter the characteristics of the bowel sounds. Place the diaphragm of your stethoscope gently on the abdomen. Listen for the bowel sounds and note their frequency and character. Normal sounds consist of clicks and gurgles occurring at an estimated frequency of 5 to 34 per minute. Occasionally, you may hear the prolonged gurgles of hyperperistalsis from stomach growling. Auscultate for abdominal bruise and friction rub. If the patient has hypertension, auscultate in the epigastrium and in each upper quadrant for bruise. Auscultate for bruise over the aorta, the iliac arteries and the femoral arteries. Auscultate over the liver and the spleen for friction rubs. Our next technique of examination is percussion, which helps us assess the amount and distribution of gas in the abdomen. Percuss the abdomen lightly in all the 4 quadrants to determine the distribution of tympany and dullness. Note any dull areas that suggest an underlying mass or enlarged organ. On each side of the protuberant abdomen, note where the tympani changes to dullness. Porcus the lower anterior chest above the costal margins. Next, we will be palpating the abdomen. Here, we are performing light palpation. Gentle palpation aids detection of abdominal tenderness, muscle resistance, and superficial organs and masses. Palpate the abdomen with a light, gentle dipping motion. As you move your hand to different quadrants, raise it just off the skin. Gliding smoothly, palpate in all the four quadrants. Now take deep, slow breaths for me. Okay. Deep palpation is usually required to delineate the liver, edge, the kidneys, and the abdominal masses. Identify any masses, note their location, size, shape, consistency, any tenderness, pulsations, and any mobility with respiration or pressure from the examining hand. Next, we will be examining the liver. The liver size and shape can be estimated by percussion and palpation. First, we will start by measuring the vertical span of liver dullness by performing percussion. Use a light to moderate percussion strike. Starting at a level well below the umbilicus in the right lower quadrant, percuss up towards the liver. Identify the lower border of dullness. Then identify the upper border of liver dullness starting at the nipple line. Percuss downwards until lung resonance shifts to liver dullness. Now measure the distance in centimeters, that is the vertical span of liver dullness, which was 8 centimeter in our patient. For palpation, place your left hand behind the patient parallel to and supporting the right 11th and 12th ribs and adjacent soft tissues below. By pressing your left hand upward, the patient's liver may be felt more easily by your examining hand. Place your right hand on the patient's right abdomen lateral to the rectus muscle with your fingertips well below the lower border of liver dullness. Starting palpation too close to the right costal margin risks missing the lower edge of an enlarged liver that extends into the right lower quadrant. Ask the patient to take a deep breath. Try to feel the liver edge as it slides down to meet your fingertips. If palpable, the liver edge is soft, sharp, and regular with a smooth surface. Normally, on inspiration, the liver is palpable about 3 centimeters below the right costal margin in the mid clavicular line. We may also palpate the liver by hooking technique, which is helpful especially when the patient is obese. Take deep breath. Stand to the right of the patient's chest. Place both the hands side by side on the right abdomen below the border of liver dullness. Press in with your fingers and up towards the costal margin. Ask the patient to take deep breaths. The liver edge may be palpable with the finger pads of both hands. Here we are assessing the percussion tenderness of a non-palpable liver. Place your left hand flat on the lower right ribcage and gently strike your hand with the ulnar surface of your right fist. Ask the patient to compare the sensation with that produced by a similar strike on the left side. Tenderness over the liver suggests inflammation as found in hepatitis. Percuss the left lower anterior chest wall roughly from the border of the cardiac dullness at the sixth rib to the anterior axillary line and down to the costal margin, an area termed as Strawberry space. Note the lateral extent of the tympani. If tympani is prominent, especially laterally, splenomegaly is unlikely. Check for a splenic percussion sign. Percuss the lowest interspace in the left anterior axillary line. This area is usually tympanatic. Then ask the patient to take a deep breath and percuss again. When the spleen size is normal, the percussion node usually remains tympanatic. For palpating the spleen, place your left hand over and around the patient to support and press forward the lower left ribcage and adjacent soft tissue. With your right hand, below the left costal margin, press in towards the spleen. Begin the palpation low enough so that you can detect an enlarged spleen. If your hand is too close to the costal margin, you will not be able to reach up under the ribcage. Ask the patient to take a deep breath. Try to feel the tip or edge of the spleen as it comes down to meet your fingertips. Note any tenderness, assess the splenic contour, and measure the distance between the spleen's lowest point and the left costal margin. Tip over to your right side. Repeat with the patient lying on the right side with legs somewhat flexed at the hips and the knees. In this position, gravity may bring the spleen forward and to the right into a palpable location. For palpation of the left kidney, move to the patient's left side. Place your right hand behind the patient just below and parallel to the 12th rib with your fingertips just reaching the costovertebral angle. Lift, trying to displace the kidney anteriorly. Place your left hand gently in the left upper quadrant, lateral and parallel to the rectus muscle. Take deep breath. Ask the patient to take deep breaths. At the peak of inspiration, press your left hand firmly and deeply into the left upper quadrant, just below the costal margin. Try to capture the kidney between your two hands. Ask the patient to breathe out and then stop breathing briefly. Slowly release the pressure of your left hand, feeling at the same time for the kidney to slide back into its expiratory position. If the kidney is palpable, describe its size, contour, and any tenderness. Palpation of the right kidney. A normal right kidney may be palpable, especially if the patient is thin and abdominal muscles are relaxed. To capture the right kidney, return to the patient's right side. Use your left hand to lift up from the back and your right hand to feel deep in the right upper quadrant. Proceed as before. The kidney may be slightly tender. The right kidney is more anterior and it must be distinguished from the liver. If the kidneys are tender to palpation, assess percussion tenderness over the CVAs. Place the ball of one hand in the CVA and strike it with the ulnar surface of your fist. Use enough force to cause a perceptible but painless jar or thud. For palpating the aorta, press firmly deep in the epigastrium slightly to the left of the midline and identify the aortic pulsations. Assess the width of the aorta by pressing deeply in the upper abdomen with one hand on each side of the aorta. A normal aorta is not more than 3 cm wide. Detection of pulsations is affected by the abdominal girth and the diameter of the aorta. Now we'll perform the assessment technique for ascites, which is the most common complication of cirrhosis. Two additional techniques help to confirm ascites. First, we'll test for shifting dullness. We'll percuss the border of tympani and dullness with the patient supine and then ask the patient to roll onto one side. Percuss and mark the borders again. In a person without ascites, the border between tympani and dullness usually stays relatively constant. Here, no ascites is seen. Test for a fluid wave. While you tap one flank sharply with your fingertips, feel on the opposite flank for an impulse transmitted through the fluid. This sign is often negative until ascites is obvious. Appendicitis is a common cause of acute abdominal pain. Here we are palpating for a local tenderness in the McBurney's point. There is none present. Palpate for Rovsing sign. Press deeply and evenly in the left lower quadrant and then quickly withdraw your fingers. Pain in the right lower quadrant during the left sided pressure is a positive Rovsing sign. Raise your right leg. Do you feel any pain?
No.
So that's a negative psoas sign. Now flex your knee. Do you feel any pain?
No.
Over here?
No.
So that's a negative obturator sign. Ventral hernias are hernias in the abdominal wall exclusive of the groin hernias. If you suspect but do not see an umbilical or incisional hernia, ask the patient to raise both head and shoulders off the table.